Hello and welcome to the viewers of this video. This is the Orange Fan here, bringing you another entry for the franchise discussion category. This video will be dedicated to the recap and thoughts for issue 18 of the Young Justice tie-in comics, Monkey Business. We begin this issue with brief recaps for the 11th, 12th, and 13th episodes of the TV series, Terrors, Homefront, and Alpha Male, respectively. Once the recaps are finished, we head to Mount Justice on September 26th, where Batman is briefing the Young Justice team on their latest mission. Captain Marvel is also present, presumably because it's still Captain Marvel's time frame as the supervisor of Mount Justice, because the Justice League members are rotating who will be the supervisor for Mount Justice after Red Tornado's disappearance at the end of Homefront. Batman says that the Justice League was able to look over the information that the Young Justice team had gathered from their mission in Alpha Male, and they have reason to believe that the Brain is restarting his plan to form an army of animals enhanced with Kobra-Venom, and they have reason to believe that the Brain's new base of operations is in the jungle of Bwunda. So the Justice League want the Young Justice team to head to Bwunda and stop Brain's current scheme. So the Young Justice team head off to go to Bwunda, and Wolf accompanies them for this particular mission. Captain Marvel is about to join them, but Batman stops Captain Marvel, reminding him that one of the main purposes of the Young Justice team is to give the young heroes some independence to an extent. And Batman questions Captain Marvel if he has any other reasons besides being a supervisor for why he would want to join the Young Justice team on their missions. But Captain Marvel begrudgingly says that there are no other reasons. The next scene takes us to Bwunda, more specifically Brain's new base of operations, where Brain and Monsieur Mala are watching the young heroes travel through the jungle on a screen, and we soon see that Brain and Monsieur Mala are working with Ultra Humanite. Due to an electric box on Ultra Humanite's vest, Ultra Humanite is able to talk and suggests that they send Grodd to attack the young heroes. So with the Young Justice team traveling through the jungles, Aqualad telepathically inquires Miss Martian if the psychic link has been established, but Miss Martian admits that she hasn't established the psychic link just yet, because she wanted to talk to Aqualad about his feelings regarding Garth and Tula becoming a couple, which she found out from the Ocean Master two-parter from the tie-in comics. Miss Martian acknowledges that now may not be the best time to talk about it, but she points out that Aqualad's feelings on that topic are prevalent right now. So if the psychic link were to be established right now, then the rest of their teammates would find out about Aqualad's feelings on that topic. So Miss Martian wanted to talk about that topic in the hopes that it would help Aqualad to not think about it for the rest of the mission. Although Miss Martian refers to the situation as a betrayal, Aqualad is quick to clarify that the situation is not a betrayal because one can't betray what never existed, and he admits that he didn't tell Tula about his feelings until after Tula and Garth had become a couple, and he also admits he doesn't know if he mourns the loss of love or the loss of opportunity. Yeah, he doesn't know if he mourns the loss of love or the loss of opportunity. But then he politely requests Miss Martian to establish the psychic link now. So with the psychic link now established, Kid Flash flirts with Miss Martian and Artemis suggests to Superboy that the two of them go see a movie sometime after the mission is complete. Because keep in mind, at this point in time, Kid Flash and Artemis are unaware of the fact that Superboy and Miss Martian are now a couple. Superboy describes Artemis's suggestion as a great team-building exercise, but then he quickly says that he smells monkeys, and he questions if any of the other teammates smell monkeys. Soon enough, the Young Justice team figure out why Superboy, or what Superboy meant, because a group of gorillas, so not actually monkeys, but primates, a group of gorillas attack the Young Justice team. Aqualad instructs the team to remove the inhibitor collars, there were inhibitor collars around the animals in Alpha Male from the mission of that episode, but Superboy quickly notices and lets everyone else know that these gorillas, while they are enhanced with Cobra-Venom, they don't have inhibitor collars. So Aqualad instructs Miss Martian to enter camouflage mode, figuring that that'll be their plan B if everything else fails, they'll have a plan B to fall back on. So Miss Martian responds that she understands, and she enters camouflage mode. And during the attack, Kid Flash runs into one gorilla in particular, and Miss Martian briefly is able to establish a link with the mind of this gorilla and finds out that this gorilla is named Grodd. But then Miss Martian becomes unconscious, but she's still in camouflage mode. And while the other members of the Young Justice team try their best against the Cobra-Venom enhanced gorillas, they are unable to defeat the gorillas, who manage to knock the other team members out, and they place inhibitor collars around the 5 Young Justice team members that they've just defeated. And they end up letting Wolf escape. So the gorillas return to Brain's current base of operations, which, according to the timestamp, is called Gorilla City. And Brain, Monsieur Mala, and Ultra Humanite are pleased that 5 of the 6 Young Justice team members have been captured, but they question why Miss Martian and Wolf aren't present. And the gorillas use sign language to tell Brain and Monsieur Mala and Ultra Humanite about what happened. Brain can understand sign language, but Ultra Humanite doesn't. Ultra Humanite mentions being busy with other details of their plan to not have the chance to learn sign language. So Brain translates. And according to the sign language, the gorillas couldn't find Miss Martian because she was still in camouflage mode, and they didn't know that Wolf was, they didn't know that Brain also wanted them to capture Wolf, so they let Wolf get away. And Ultra Humanite does point out that, in all fairness, Brain's instructions were to capture the Young Justice team and not their pet. So their next course of action is Brain and Ultra Humanite provide the gorillas, besides Monsieur Mala, they provide those gorillas with infrared vision goggles so that they can find Miss Martian and to find Wolf too. And they tell them to return only after they have found and captured Miss Martian and Wolf, or else the consequences will be dire. So Miss Martian regains consciousness in what seems to be a dark room. The only thing that she can see is a group of gorillas. One of these gorillas is Grodd, and the issue ends with Grodd demanding that Miss Martian help them, as in the group of gorillas. So I did mention before that the title Monkey Business was a title that would get reused because originally that title was used for issue 2 of the tie-in comics. Well, yes, this is the other issue that uses the title Monkey Business. And like I said, I can see why they use the title. I mean, a more pedantic reader will point out that gorillas and monkeys aren't the same and that primate's really the more all-encompassing term, but I digress. And I get what they were going for. And in this case, this one deals with Gorilla City, and it's quite different from how Gorilla City is usually portrayed in other adaptations relating to DC Comics. And they go more into that in the next issue, part 2. They go more into detail about why Gorilla City is the way it is in this adaptation. And yes, we do see Ultra Humanite is working with Brain and Monsieur Mala for this particular scheme. And yeah, Ultra Humanite did appear in the TV series, but had no dialogue. But as we found out here, Ultra Humanite is able to talk thanks to an electric box. And this kind of goes along, like, this, the thing with the gorilla characters in this issue, like Ultra Humanite using an electric box, and some of the gorillas using sign language, and Monsieur Mala isn't shown to talk. It shows the gorilla characters don't talk, at least not by traditional means. Because that's right, Grodd also talks through telepathy, not actual verbal talking. So that kind of helps to showcase how the Earth-16 universe is, relatively speaking, more grounded in reality compared to other adaptations. I say relatively speaking because, of course, there still are certain situations that you wouldn't really associate with real life, but relatively speaking, it is more realistic when you compare it to other adaptations. Like in this case, the gorillas don't talk normally like other humans would talk. Like I said, whether it's sign language or electric boxes or telepathy. So it kind of highlights how the Earth-16 universe distinguishes itself from other adaptations. And we do get some brief recaps for the 11th, 12th, and 13th episodes at the start, like I mentioned earlier at the start of the recap. And during those recaps, we actually do find out what Robin, Kid Flash, and Artemis were doing during the events of the episode Terrors. It turns out they were just watching celebrity hockey on TV at Mount Justice. And that actually does showcase that, yeah, the Young Justice team members, if they're absent in an episode from the TV series, it's not always because they're on another mission with their mentors on the Justice League. Sometimes it is just a mundane reason. But it's a nice touch all the same that they, like, it wasn't really necessary, but it was still a nice detail all the same. And otherwise, oh, that's right, yeah. The thing I liked about this two-parter was giving Brain some more attention. Now, I mentioned it before. I feel Ocean Master is the member of the Light who drew the short stick when it came to prevalent roles, because Ocean Master's only real prevalent role was a two-parter story within the tie-in comics. But even though I felt Ocean Master drew the short stick, that doesn't mean that the other Light members might not have gotten as much prevalence as what they should have, being their status as main villains. And Brain's an example of that, because Alpha Male was really the only episode where Brain got a very prevalent role. Like, Brain did appear in other episodes with a somewhat major role, but probably not the most prevalent role as far as the villain of an episode goes. So So I did appreciate how this two-parter tied into, how this two-parter gave Brain a more prevalent role, because otherwise he hasn't had, Brain, I would say, Brain and Ra's al Ghul probably didn't have as prevalent roles in the TV series compared to some of the other Light members, so it was nice how the tie-in comics were able to give them some attention. Ra's al Ghul had the Clayface three-parter, Brain has this two-parter, and like I said before, Ocean Master got his own two-parter in the tie-in comics as well. So it is nice to see some of the villains not that we don't get to see too much in the TV series, or at least they don't have as prevalent of a role in the TV series. It's nice to see them get some attention in the tie-in comics. And yeah, Brain's connection with gorilla villains, Monsieur Mala, Ultra Humanite, and Grodd even. Because that's right, this two-parter also introduces us to Gorilla Grodd, who was a part of Flash's Rogues Gallery, usually. Although Gorilla Grodd's also been prevalent in various adaptations of the DC comics. So yeah, there is a reason why Brain is connected to these gorilla villains. There is a reason for that, and they go into detail about that in part 2. So we'll go more into detail about that when we discuss part 2 in the recap and aughts video for that particular issue. But for now, I think that's about it for now. So as of this video, we've now discussed issue 18 of the Young Justice tie-in comics on this channel. Take care, and until next time.